Hey, I'm Dr. Daniel Laby. For the past 35 years, I work with elite athletes around the world to help them improve their visual performance and gain a competitive edge. I'll be sharing insights, tips, and real-world examples to help you see sharper, react faster, and perform at your best. Let's get into it. When I first started analyzing sports vision data 30 years ago, I did what everyone else does. I calculated correlations and got impressive-looking numbers. I felt confident that I understood the relationship between visual skills and performance. But I was wrong. Not completely wrong, but wrong enough that it took me years to realize I was missing the most important insights hiding in my own data. Today, I want to share something that's fundamentally changed how I approach sports vision analysis and why it matters for anyone serious about improving athletic performance through visual training. Correlations assume that relationships are linear. Double the input, double the output. Improve contrast sensitivity by 10 points, get a proportional improvement in sports performance. It's clean, simple, and intuitive. But unfortunately, it's also not how the brain works. The visual system is inherently nonlinear, not straight-lined. Neural processing, perception, and decision-making don't follow straight lines. Small changes sometimes produce nothing. Other times, a small, tiny improvement can trigger a massive performance jump, and eventually gains saturate and flatline, no matter how hard you push. Here's a practical example from the type of data we see regularly in our work with baseball hitters. Imagine testing 80 players on two measures: a contrast sensitivity test score from the AVTS style test, and pitch recognition accuracy from rapid decision-making tasks. You calculate the correlation, and you get something like 0.88, which is very good, very high. It would suggest a very impressive, strong relationship. Case closed. But when you actually plot the data, point by point, a completely different story emerges. What the correlation number hides is this: the relationship between contrast sensitivity and pitch recognition isn't a smooth upward slope. It's a threshold-based curve with three distinct zones. Below a contrast score of about 60, hitters are essentially guessing. Their accuracy hovers about 50%, regardless of small improvements in their vision scores. But between 60 and 70, something dramatic happens. Small visual improvements create enormous performance jumps. We're talking about 20 to 25 percentage points. Pitch recognition accuracy. But above 75, though, the curve flattens again. Additional contrast gains barely move the needle on actual hitting performance. This is a classic biological response. Pattern, threshold, rapid transition, then saturation. And a single correlation value treats the entire relationship as if every point along that curve is equally meaningful, but it's not. A number like 0.8 averages across all the thresholds, ignores the plateaus, and completely misses the critical transition zones where performance actually changes largely by a large amount. It treats a player moving from 52 to 58 as equivalent to a player moving from 59 to 64. But those two scenarios couldn't be more different. The first player improved their vision score, but likely saw no real meaningful change in their hitting. The second player, though, crossed the threshold, and everything shifted. The pitch recognition, reaction time, and decision quality all transformed. Same 6-point improvement, but completely different outcomes. This is why chasing generic visual improvement is often a waste of time. What matters is understanding where you sit sensitive or relative to your performance threshold, and whether your training can push you across that threshold and get those significant increases. Instead of forcing data into a straight line, we can model it with something called the logistic curve that reflects biological reality. This approach gives you three actionable insights that correlation simply can't provide. First, you identify the threshold point, the specific level where performance subtly improves. Second, you measure the slope or the steepness of that around that threshold, which tells you how sensitive the system is to change in that area. And third, you find the upper limit where vision gains stop, translating into performance benefits. This isn't just descriptive. It's prescriptive. It shows you exactly where to intervene. Here's what this means in practice. If an athlete's contrast sensitivity sits at 52, grinding hard to get to the point about 58 might feel productive, but it produces negligible performance gains. However, if another athlete is sitting at 59, getting into 64 could dramatically alter their game because they're at that threshold point. This is why I tell athletes and coaches and trainers to stop thinking about visual improvement as a general goal. Start thinking about it as a threshold crossing. That's why visual evaluation, and more specifically interventions and training, need to be individualized and highly targeted to each individual athlete. Not all vision gains are created equal. Some are transformational, others are cosmetic. Knowing the difference is what separates effective sports vision training from expensive guesswork. The visual system isn't a straight line, it's a biological system with thresholds, saturation points, and nonlinear leverage zones. If you analyze it with linear tools alone, you're flying blind and probably miscalculating training time, misallocating resources, and wasting your time. Next time you're looking at sports vision data, don't just ask, what's the correlation? Instead ask, where's the threshold and how do I push across it? That's where performance actually changes. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more insights on vision and performance, and check out my book, Eye of the Champion, for a deeper dive into how athletes use vision to win.